Hi, I'm Busy Lizzie, your friendly neighborhood vegan makeup artist, and today I'm going to show you how to do a super speedy soft glam look. This is my go-to for date nights or just going out on the town if I want to feel extra cute, if I want to put a little bit more effort in. I'm going right in with Physicians Formula Creamy Natural Airbrushing Pressed Powder. I really like using this instead of concealer because it just feels so much better on my skin. I feel like it doesn't make me break out. I like to avoid concealers for that reason because I feel like having a big thick layer of stuff on my skin just makes my skin not happy. It's kind of a vicious cycle of like, okay, put the concealer on and the foundation on to conceal whatever problems are going on, and then it just creates more problems. So I like a pressed powder for that reason. Just gonna put this all over my face. This really helps with any shininess. I just moisturize my face so I'm looking kind of shiny. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with my NYX Buttermelt Blush in the color Deep Rosewood. The stuff smells so good. I recently became a fan of red blush. I used to use pink blush pretty much exclusively. It smells so good and it looks more natural in my opinion. So I like to pretty much just coat my blush brush with blush, and then I get a paper towel and just kind of like buff some of it off because this stuff is so extremely pigmented, but I want to get it evenly dispersed on my whole brush instead of just in small spots. So I'm just going to kind of very lightly tap this onto my cheeks and bring it up a little bit. You can already see, even though I did take some of it off, it is so pigmented. Look at that. Isn't it crazy? I look like a clown now. But that's what you want. You want to go right back in with that powder brush that you used and diffuse the edges. We're just going to start there. And then depending on how intense you like your blush, I like mine kind of intense, but I'm going to just go right on top of the blush and kind of just diffuse it even more. Blend it out a little bit, make it look more natural. I'm going to put actually a little bit more of that pressed powder right on top of my blush because it is just so pigmented. But I really like the red. I think it looks so much more natural than pink blush does, and I don't know if I'll ever go back to pink blush now. Maybe every once in a while, but it just looks so cute. I love it so much. All right, so now that we're done with that, I'm going to go in with a little bit of Wet n Wild contouring palette here. This is just the Mega Glow contour palette. I honestly have just been a fan of just sticking with blush recently instead of contour, but since this is a soft glam, I thought I'd do a little bit more. So I'm just using my contour brush, and I always like to tap off the extra. Just gonna go in a little bit higher than you'd think, kind of just right where your cheekbone is. I'll show you. Just kind of brush upward. Make you look extra snatched. And sometimes I like to do the side of my nose too, just like this. Right underneath. You can do it under your jaw too for a little bit more definition. Just go easy with it. You don't want to have too much. I like to do it with barely any product on my brush too, so there's not too much blending to do. But I am going to go in with that powder brush that I used at first and blend out that contour if there are any harsh lines, because you do want it to be very subtle. This is a soft glam. Now I'm going to go in and do my eyebrows. I'm using the e.l.f. Ultra Precise Brow Pencil. This is, I think, the second to lightest brown shade that they have. And I'm just going to fill in my brows. I'm not going to put a ton on the front. I'm mostly going to concentrate at the bottom of the front, and then I'm going to brush it upwards to kind of give it that gradient look for my brows. But the rest of my brows, from the middle to the ends, I'm going to go kind of dark. I used to be a big fan of Lady Gaga's brow pencil. It's very similar to this. But oh my gosh, it's like 5 times as expensive as the e.l.f. pencil, and this pretty much does the same thing. So I love you, Gaga, but this wins. So you can see I'm just brushing upwards, kind of diffusing that heavier line at the bottom of the front of my brow, and then softening out the rest of it. You don't want any harsh lines. You don't want it to look like you've been drawing your brows in. You want it to look very natural. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my the Brow Glue by NYX. I always like to get as much of the product off of this brush as I can because I really don't need a lot of it. This thing I feel like could last me forever because I always just take as much of the product off as I can. I just think it looks so much better when there's not a ton of stuff on my brows. So the way I'm going to do this is that I'm going to brush straight up. I personally am not a fan of that like fluffy brow look like this. But this is how we start, and then we're just going to drag the tops down so it all comes together like that. Just do the same thing on the other side. No need to re-dip the wand. You really don't need a ton of product, like I said. And there we go. Brows are done. Now I'm going to do a little bit of highlight. I'm using my Lime Crime Highlight Angels palette here. I'm just going to use the pink one. I really like this highlight palette. I don't think it exists anymore. I'm sorry. I'm just going to put it right here. And just right on my nose. Cute. Very, very subtle. And then I'm going to do my eyeshadow. So I always like to start with something to make my shadow stick to my lids. So I like to use NYX Glow Shots. This is my favorite base, my favorite primer. I've used primers that are specifically for lids, but there's just something about this liquid eyeshadow that makes things stick even more and it doesn't crack. I also used to use Lady Gaga's liquid shadow for the same reason, but this is a lot cheaper, so I'm all about saving money. And it does the same thing. So I like to just cover my lid with this. I'm using kind of a neutral color here. This is kind of a pinkish. Let's see what color it is. Grapefruit Glow. It has a little bit of a shimmer to it, but I've noticed if I'm using, you know, maybe like a more of a matte eyeshadow, it doesn't really matter because it just covers it up. This is just like the glue that holds whatever shadow that you're going to use to your lid. So I'm just using a shadow brush here and I'm kind of bringing this liquid shadow out into kind of like a half dome around my eye. And I'm going to do the same thing with my other eye. You really don't need a ton of this. I think this would be really cute even just by itself. I've actually never done that. Cool, so now that we've done that, I'm going to use my Wet n Wild Color Icon Lights Off palette. So a bunch of different colors in here that I really like. Since I'm going for more of a soft glam, I'm going to use this color right here. The second to last one on the right. It's definitely my most loved shade here. It's definitely pretty glittery, kind of like a light mauve almost. I don't really know how to describe it. It's pretty subtle, but I'm just going to put this right on top of that liquid shadow. They're actually kind of a similar color. This one's a little bit darker though. And same with the liquid shadow, I want to just bring this out into like kind of a half dome around my eye. A little half circle vibe. Same thing for the other lid. You can see this color is pretty neutral. It's not super intense. We're going for the soft glam, so we don't want it to be crazy. So now that I've covered my lids with this and gone out a little bit further, I'm going to just kind of buff out the edges a little bit so they're more blended. But before I do that, I'm going to get any of the excess product off of my brush. Paper towels are my best friend. Just rub any of that extra off and then diffuse the outside all the way around So it kind of blends out. Perfect. So if I wanted to go a little bit more glam, I would do maybe a dark shade just on the outside here, like the outside half of my lid, but I'm going for more of a soft glam and natural glam. So I'm gonna leave it just like this. But what I am gonna do is grab that same shade on a smaller brush, and I'm gonna place it right underneath my bottom lash line. Kind of want to pull the top and bottom together a little bit. Pretty neutral, nothing crazy. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of this cream highlight stick that I have. I'm just going to put it on my brush. And then I'm going to put this in the inner corners because I think that is so cute. I will always be a fan of a little bit of highlight in the inner corners. I do like to kind of drag it onto my bottom lash line a little bit too. And upward, just like that. Now I'm going to use my Wet n Wild black eyeliner here. I'm just going to do my upper waterline. Give my eyes a second in the water. And then I'm going to do some eyeliner. And I love using eyeshadow as eyeliner. I have this awesome angled brush here. I'm just going to use that same palette that I was using earlier, but I'm going to use the black eyeshadow. Just dust off the extra. And I'm going to go right in and just line my upper lids. I like to line it pretty thin, as close to my lash line as possible. I really like using eyeshadow instead of like a liquid eyeliner because it looks so much more natural. I really do like that kind of smudgy, sultry look. And I feel like it's not as easy to fuck it up too when you use shadow. I'm going to do a little bit of a wing here. I like to just look straight ahead into my mirror when I'm doing this. I like to use the little bit of extra eyeshadow on this and just bring it right down onto my lower lash line. And just say halfway, really, in the outer corner, right into the middle. I think that just looks so cute. I kind of prefer that to using some of this pencil on my lower waterline. I just love it. I love it so much. So that is my eyeliner routine for this look. And then what I'm going to do next is use an eyelash curler and just curl my lashes. I'm actually going to skip fake lashes for this look because it's just a soft glam. I'm not trying to go crazy and I want to do this quickly. I am busy Lizzie after all. I have places to go, people to see. So I'm actually going to use this e.l.f. Lash Extender Mascara for the first time. I just got this in the mail. And I cannot wait to use it. So let's see. This is Pitch Black color. I'm very excited. I love trying out new products. So I hope this is a good one. I like to coat both sides of my lashes. So far, no complaints with this mascara. It does seem to really separate each of my lashes, which I really like. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom lashes. I'm coating both sides. I feel like if you only get one side of your lashes, it's not going to make them look as long as they really are. I'm going to go in for a second coat on my top lashes. And same thing for the bottom, do another coat there. Guess what? I'm going to do another coat on my top lashes. Don't be afraid of using a lot of mascara. Same thing with the bottom. I think it's good to give your lashes some time to dry before you go in with another coat, because then it'll really stick. If you just keep going in and trying to do more layers while it's still wet, it's not going to stick as well. So that's it for my lashes. I am actually really happy with the way this mascara has worked. I don't have any complaints. I'm a fan. Good job, e.l.f. Now I'm going to go in with my NYX Shine Loud lip product here in the color Cash Flow. This is kind of a dual lip product, so it has color and then it also has gloss. So I'm going to do the color first. Kind of a cute little soft neutral color here. And then I'm going to get any excess off just by going like that on some paper towel. And then I'm going to use my gloss here right on top. If you want, you can go in with one last extra step with some setting spray. I'm using the Marshmallow Setting Spray by NYX. It's not super necessary, but if you want to smell cute, why not? It does smell really good. Personally, my favorite thing about setting spray is that I don't have to think about my makeup rubbing off on people if I'm hugging them. I'm pretty short, so I'm not really the height where my face is not going to touch people's clothes. So, shout out to that setting spray for that reason. Oh my god, it really does smell so good. This is my Natural Glam. You can do lashes if you want, but I like to keep it extra natural. Soft Glam, not too crazy. I'll show you how to bump it up next time and we can do some glam. But let me know if you end up trying this look. I'd love to see some pictures. Leave a comment if you have any looks you'd like to see me do in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.